Hey yo, brothers, I came across this video, and this woman is talking to a group of people on a podcast, and she's talking about women and their options and them not having a large dating pool and a large amount of selections to choose from when it comes to the dating market. And something we have to understand, brothers, is no time in history have women ever had access to a large pool of men. It's always been a small pool of extremely successful, high value men. It's been a small pool of good men, great men. Something that's valuable, there's not going to be an abundance of it. That's what makes something valuable, is that everybody doesn't have it. That's the reality of it. That's why when people become rich and people become billionaires, their number one consumer audience a lot of times is poor people. Obviously, if you got high end brands and stuff like that, luxury brands, you sell it to rich people. But in general, a lot of the rich people want there to be poor people. They create a class system. George Carlin said it best years ago in his famous comedy special. The job of the middle class and the poor, the job of the poor is to scare the shit out of the middle class, basically. That's the job of the poor. The rich, that gives the middle class something to aspire to be. But in general, middle class people feel better about their life because they look at poor people and say, you know what, at least I'm not poor. At least I'm not in poverty. At least I'm not in the hood. And unfortunately, society is on the brink of collapse because the rich, or shall I say the middle class and the poor, that bridge is getting closer and closer and closer. It's starting to be destroyed. It's starting to be no difference between a person that you call middle class and poor. You got upper poor and you got lower poor. It's not even a middle class no more for the most part. But above and beyond that, brothers, women have never had an abundance of options when it comes to mate selection like they do today, or what like they think they do today. As far as men with resources, knowledge, wisdom, understanding, trades, skills, and abilities, that is not common in today's society. And something women are going to have to understand is that monogamy is not a true relationship dynamic for an entire civilization of people to operate under. It's okay for an individual, if you decide I only want one woman, that's on you. Abraham, for throughout the most of the Bible, he only had one woman. I mean, it's perfectly fine for you to just have one woman if you decide that. But in general, for a collective of people, that has never been the case. Because the reality is, in order for the man to spread his seed, he's going to need more than one woman. In order for you to populate the earth, which the earth really doesn't need to be populated anymore right now anyway, but in order for you to populate the earth, you're going to need a man to have more than one woman. And above and beyond that, most women are only attracted to a very small pool of men. It's the reality of it, man. Let's go ahead and tap into this.
I understand the frustration of women because what they're saying is there's not a big pool of good men.
That's a lot. Hold on. There's never been a big pool of good men. Never been a big pool, and that's why women are going to have to come to a conclusion as to whether or not they want to be single, they want to settle, do they want to share a man, or do they just want to be a side piece and just get dick and bubble gum. These are the realities they're going to have to face. As the black community, as the black community, when I look at the black community, man, we, out of all nations of people, we should be operating according to a relationship dynamic where more than one person is operating in a household. If you have 3 or 4 women in a household, and let's just say all of them are bringing something to the table that's tangible, and you can operate and function in that household as if it is a corporation, and everybody's bringing something to the table, that would work a whole lot better than 2 people just trying to get it done. A lot of times these women are stay-at-home moms, and their life becomes harder because they got a lot of stress and burden on their shoulders. Imagine, instead of having to drop your child off at daycare, it's already 3 or 4 women in the house to take care of the kids. Monogamy is not working. It's not. It's leading to people being more stressed out. It's leading to more of the shoulder of the burden. The burden is on the shoulders of the woman heavily now because of the financial situation in this society. Now it probably makes more sense for people to come into a collective and live together under the same roof instead of having to live in separate apartments. This is one of the reasons why the cost of living has gone up, because people are living on their own instead of living in a collective. If we all started moving in with one another and we operated under one roof, and it being 3 or 4 adults under one roof, a lot of these apartment complexes, they would cease to exist. They would easily go out of business. They would have to lower their rent prices. The reason why they can charge so much for rent prices is because people need somewhere to stay. That's what we need to understand, man. So we need to open up and expand our views when it comes to a relationship dynamic.
That's not a lie.
That is a lie.
That's not a lie.
Listen,
What?
there's not a lot of good men who want y'all. There's a lot of good men out there like we're the good men.
For the most part, women gotta understand it. What women gotta understand is good men. There's good men out here. There's a lot of good men out here. There's even some great men out here. But what women are attracted to, and women are so picky when it comes to their mate selection, that if you're not a certain height, they're disqualifying you. If your teeth aren't perfectly straight, they're disqualifying you. If you don't have a full beard, they will disqualify you. Some women. If your muscles, if you're skinnier, they will disqualify you. If you are, if your voice isn't deep enough. I'm just saying that women are looking for all these qualities, and when you approach a woman, you pretty much have maybe 2 to 3 seconds to make an impression on her, and she knows whether or not she's attracted to you and wants to be with you or not within the first 2 or 3 seconds that you approach her. The way your posture is, how confident you may look, the way you talk to her. A lot of women may miss out on a good man just because he didn't have his best outfit on that day. He had some joggers and some Timbs on.
And that like they hiding under a rock or in a cave. They everywhere. They at the gas station. They at Costco. They at the bank. They walking right past you, and you don't show up on their radar because of the way you are. They're gonna walk right by.
That's also a possibility. When you look like everybody else, act like everybody else, dress like everybody else, have the same hairstyle as everybody else, same lashes as everyone else, the same acrylics as everyone else, the same demeanor as everyone else, I'm going to assume what? That you're like everyone else. So these are valid points that the brother is bringing up. If you want to get different results, you're going to have to think outside of the box and try to depict yourself in a different way. Too many of our women, they're aspiring to look the exact same way.
Your pretty face ain't gonna go too far because everybody's pretty. That's a prerequisite. So if that's
And their pretty face doesn't help, because when they get on Instagram, their DMs are flooded and it's a bunch of dudes telling them how beautiful they are. They go on Tinder, Bumble, whatever the app is that people use, and they're receiving right swipes constantly, receiving validation constantly. So they're never able to truly receive that humility. And it's going to take a great calamity, according to scripture, to humble the daughters of Zion. You can read Isaiah, the 3rd chapter, and it will tell you that the daughters of Zion will be humbled. That's talking about the so-called black woman. She's going to have to be humbled greatly in order to receive her correction, and in order to come back into her right, stable, functional mind, where she realizes she needs the black man. Because there's going to come a point in time where the black woman is going to have to lean on the so-called black man, whether she thinks he's inept or not. It's not going to be a matter of, I hope he can do it. It's going to be a matter of, I need him. It's not going to be a matter of want. It's going to be a matter of necessity. And that's what's always made relationships work, brothers, is necessity. I'm going to state that constantly on my channel and any platform I'm on. What makes your relationship work is 2 people needing each other. It's not about me wanting you, or how fat your booty is, or how good your coochie is, or how good you dicking her down. That's not what makes a relationship work. It's about necessity. Now, that good coochie that she's giving you, or that good wee-wee you're giving her, that could be that could provide a person with what they need at that moment. But the basic needs, the real needs in life, the true essentials in life, are food, water, shelter, heat in the winter. And when we get to a place economically in this society where the so-called black woman is no longer able to provide for herself like that, and she's not able to make money stripping, she's not able to make money off OnlyFans, because if stripping stopped, if people stopped spending money at strip clubs and on OnlyFans, a lot of these women would be out on the streets. They really would be. That's the only reason they're able to get their bills paid, is because they have old men at these strip bars and nudie bars tricking off on them and giving them money. That's the only reason why some of these girls are even able to get their car, put gas in their car. So once the economy gets to a point where it's so crippled to the point where there's a true recession and a woman doesn't have no choice but to start looking around and start saying, what are my options? And she's faced with the reality that, damn, she doesn't have any options. A lot of women are going to start to share a man according to scripture. Because in Isaiah, the 4th chapter, the 1st verse, it tells us the 7 women shall take hold onto one man. Now, obviously, that's talking about the bride taking hold on to Christ, because that's what the nation of Israel is, or the elect of the nation of Israel are. They're the bride and Christ is the groom. On another level, that's also talking about during a time of war and calamity. But in another way, it's also talking about, once again, like I just said, calamity. And a financial collapse is a calamity. That is a financial war, and that's going to lead to all types of chaos and turmoil within society. And that's going to be something that forces a lot of so-called black women to look around and say, I need a man. And they're going to be in a position where they're either going to share a man, or they're going to be bowing down to a lot of brothers' feet that are in a position of power in their own life and do have value.
All you got to offer, we not looking at you. There's plenty of good men, they just don't want your ass. I ain't never heard no woman say, I know I ain't shit. She'll say, this man ain't shit, he ain't shit, he was bad.
Well, yeah, because by nature, the woman is programmed to look at you and blame you for everything. In general, they don't accept accountability. It's hard for them to look in the mirror and see their flaws, even though they do look in the mirror and see their insecurities, and they know what their impurities and imperfections are, which is why they put on this makeup, which is why they try to get the BBL, put on the wig, put on the lashes, put on the fake face, because they're trying to hide who they are. The woman is a delusional creature by nature. That's the reason why she does the things that she does, to make herself look pretty. In general, the woman is programmed to think that she's above you in this society. The woman thinks that she can do no wrong in this society, and that's why, according to scripture, she's going to have to be greatly humbled, and that's going to happen during a time of calamity, whether it be a financial collapse, whether it be war, some type of famine, pestilence, plague, whatever it may be, the various ways in which the Most High renders judgment throughout society and brings forth prophecy and throughout society. Because when the Most High brings about prophecy, it's usually not in a good way. It's usually in a very negative, destructive, murderous fashion.
He was bad, but for the most part, every woman think they're a good woman.
For being
what makes you?
And that's the problem right there. Every woman is not a good woman. For there to be something to be good, there has to be something that's bad. For there to be a good woman, there has to be a bad woman. For there to be a bad woman, there has to be a good woman. Just like in the scriptures, if there's a wife, there's a whore. If there's a wife, there's a concubine. For every wife, there's a low level woman, a woman that is shameless, a woman that is rotten to your bones. These are the words and the colloquialisms and the metaphoric language, poetic language that the Bible uses. That I'd rather dwell in a den with a lion and a dragon than with a woman. It is better to dwell in the corner of a housetop than in a wide house with an angry woman or a brawling woman. It's better to dwell in the wilderness than be in a house with a loud and cantankerous woman. As the feet of the aged are walking up a sandy way, so is it to a wife full of words to a quiet man. You know, brothers, a woman ever nag the hell out of you? You ever have a woman just irritate you and nag the shit out of you? That's what that's like. It's like an old man walking up a sandy hill. You know, the scriptures, it gives you a very in-depth analysis and breakdown of the nature of the woman. There are beautiful qualities of a wife, and there's beautiful qualities of a wife. That's it. It really describes a wife, a great wife, and a great mother when it describes a great woman. There's not a lot of great women in this society. This society produces Babylonian women. They are all incarnations of various goddess figures throughout history, whether it be Aphrodite, Venus, Inanna, Kali, Sabdet, various entities that you could point out. All these different Ishtar, all these different Isis, all these different various mother goddess figures and sex goddess figures and fertility goddess figures and vegetation goddess figures. throughout history. That's what they're meant to be an incarnation of. And really, in today's society, the modern day gods and goddesses are entertainers. The modern day Aphrodites are Meg Thee Stallion, Cardi B, Rihanna. Those are the modern day sex goddesses. That's their job. The modern day destroyer goddesses are, the Sexy Reds and the Sukianas. Those are also whore goddesses as well. The mother goddess figures are going to be people like Beyonce, things of that nature, Sierra, constantly depicting themselves as being pregnant and constantly having these photo shoots where they're showing themselves in their maternity shoots where the man is kissing the belly of the woman. And there's nothing wrong with kissing your woman's belly when she has your baby. But in general, what that's really meant to depict is that she's a goddess and you're beneath her. And that's what this is. That's what these societies are based in. That's why brothers need to understand the Greco-Roman pantheon of gods and goddesses and idols that they worshipped, as well as the Kemetic and the Assyrian, Etruscan, whatever you want to dive into when it comes to history. Understanding these things so that you understand what this society is really about. The modern day gods are today are rappers and entertainers like NBA players and stuff like that, like Michael Jordan having the emblem and having statues, and LeBron James they talking about LeBron having statues, and Kobe Bryant has statues, and all these people have statues. Deontay Wilder has a statue. Setting up as idols. You're setting them up as idols. The scriptures tell us not to create graven images and standing images. This society is filled and plagued with idolatry. The black man needs to understand what idolatry is. The black woman, it's hard for me to get on the black woman about her idolatry when the black man is an idolater his damn self. The black man idolizes LeBron James. The black man idolizes Kobe Bryant. The black man idolizes his favorite rapper. They'll get into a fist fight, an argument with you about Allen Iverson. This is the black man. So we can't fix the problems with the black woman and her idolatry of Beyonce and Rihanna and Meg Thee Stallion and SZA and Sexy Red and Sukiana and Trina and Lil Kim and all these other various figures that they worship. We can't correct them until we correct ourselves.
Good woman. Who's auditing that you're a good woman? You are auditing yourself.
The market is what's supposed to audit whether or not these are good women, but the problem is the so-called black man continues to get these women pregnant. He continues to wife these women up. He continues to give these women money, an exorbitant amount of money for things out, and they're not even getting nothing in return. At least if you're giving a woman $50, $100, $200, and she giving you some cooter mama, I can get with that. I can understand that. But there's a lot of brothers out here that's just tricking and not getting anything in return. That's my problem. When you tricking and you're not getting nothing in return, that's simping. When you tricking and not getting nothing in return, you giving a woman $100, you buying her gas, you paying her gas and her groceries and her bills, and she not even giving you no sex in return. That's tricking, bro. That's tricking. That's not that's not even tricking. That's simping. That's simping. That's simping at the highest levels. If you just getting some cooter mama, paying to get some cooter mama, I mean, that's not really tricking. That's just you skipping steps. That's all that is. Instead of me going through the whole process of trying to court you and wine and dine you and go through all this extra stuff, let's just get straight to it. Or a lot of men will pay an escort and say, look, I'm going to pay for your time. Let's have a good time. I want this to be a simulation of a fantasy of what a real date and a real experience would be like with a real woman. I want that from you. And instead of me having to go through the process of texting you and talking on the phone with you and doing all that to beguile you and get you interested in me, let me just give you this money so we can skip all that and get straight to it. I can get with that. But you paying money and you not getting nothing in return, no, that's a big no-no, brothers. That's enabling the woman and that's encouraging the woman. That's not helping the woman. You don't help the woman when you pay her bills and she doesn't have to give you anything in return. There has to be a return on the investment. There has to be, when you make a transaction, you're buying something in return. You're getting something. When I go to the store and I pay for something, I'm getting a service in return, or I'm getting an item in return. What are you getting in return by paying a woman's bills and just for the sake of it? These are things we have to understand, brothers.
Why don't you ask your exes what they think? Because all your relationships diminished and ended in turmoil.
Well, that's the end of that. But in general, if women did ask their exes, they're never going to ask their exes because in their mind, their ex is the reason why the relationship didn't work. And that's not to say that the black man doesn't play a role in why these relationships with these so-called black women end and they come to an abrupt ending. I'm not sitting up here acting like the black man doesn't play a huge part in the demise and the failure of these relationships. But what I am not going to allow the so-called black woman to do is to pretend as though she has no blame or accountability in the situation. Brothers, if you have daughters out there, you need to be instilling wife qualities in your daughter. You need to be instilling accountability in your daughter every chance that you get. It's important that she understands that the decisions that she makes are her choices and that the problems in her life are her fault because we oftentimes control our own fate. A lot of times we like to blame others for what transpires in our lives, but in reality, we're the ones that made the poor decisions. The scriptures tell us a wise man's heart discerneth both time and judgment. In general, brothers, we have to be good at discerning a situation. We have to use prudence. We have to use discretion. We have to know when to speak, when not to speak. The scriptures tell us, he that shutteth his lips is esteemed a man of understanding. The scriptures also tells us that a fool uttereth his mind, all his mind. So there's a point in time where you need to learn how to be quiet and shut up. Same thing with the woman. The woman needs to know that there's a time period where she needs to shut up and be quiet. A lot of times women get themselves in trouble and make themselves the villain, and they can no longer, they void their victim card with their mouth. Their mouth, their sassiness, their attitude, their belligerence, that diva spirit that Beyonce has imbued within them. Yeah, that, because Beyonce is also a destroyer goddess figure as well. She's also has the spirit of Kali because that diva spirit is very destructive. Saying if you like it, you should have put a ring on it. Baby, 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 baby. You done been ran through. You got 10, 15 bodies. You don't qualify for a ring. You don't qualify for marriage. Now, obviously, women grow, women change. And if a woman can grow and change and she can accept your teachings, then you have to discern that situation for yourselves, brothers. But the vast majority of these women, no, they do not qualify for being a wife, and they should not be made wives unless they are willing to get on your page. Meaning, Valentine's Day just passed. Is she a woman that can acknowledge, can understand, yo, I'm not celebrating Valentine's Day. This is a pagan holiday. This is glorifying Cupid, glorifying Pan, glorifying the goat god, glorifying Aphrodite on a level. Let's just understand that this is all idolatry. These are all pagan holidays. This is not the Bible. And these holidays, even above and beyond that, they're not for the man. They're for the woman to get gifts out of the man and to sucker the man into spending more money. Most men hate Valentine's Day. It's one of men's least favorite holidays, quote unquote holidays. Least favorite. It's just an inconvenience and it's just there. Most men hate Valentine's Day, but they continue to celebrate it. Why? Most men, let's understand something. Christmas. Can your woman stop celebrating Christmas? Just little things, man. Can your woman get on your page? If a woman is not able to get on your page, brothers, she does not qualify for being a wife. But anyways, brothers, I think we get the point. I'm going to go ahead and tap out of this.